What's up, guys? We are here at PAX West again, 2017. We're at Solstrata, who actually got promoted this year. Big congrats to you.
Thank you.
I mean, that's always good to hear that you're moving up in the chain, so that helps us as a community realize that the team is growing, the team is getting bigger, they're adding more support to the game, so that is nice to hear.
And we have Trion here too. He's our new production coordinator, so people might remember him as GM, and now he is now production coordinator Trion. So yeah.
And then sadly, Crolin is not here, so we'll give Crolin a shout out. Hey Crolin.
Hey Crolin.
We miss you.
We miss you. Yes. Well, I was talking to you this morning, so
we've got 4.0 Naval Arena back here being showcased.
Yeah. So this is a development build right now. It's still in progress, so forgive the Korean when you see it. But the team is working hard and getting it over here to US and to North America and Europe. So it's actually really exciting to have it, playable in here today.
So what's that giant thing right there that is looking very menacing?
That is the Rakasha. So that is a giant mini Leviathan that moves around the outside of the Naval Arena. It will try and belly flop boats. It will also push boats off course. But basically, yeah, there it goes. It's about to just goodbye, boat. Basically, it's there to make things a little bit more chaotic. And if you kill it, you actually get extra souls, which are sort of like the points for the arena.
Okay, yeah, give us a rundown, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know much about the Naval Arena yet. So
yeah, sure.
Give us the rundown of this if you...
So what we're seeing right now is we're only playing by ourselves on the internal server. It's just one ship out there. But in the actual Naval Arena, it's going to be 4 different ships, each representing one of ArcheAge's great captains. So Morpheus, Rangora, Ilian, and Fuchsia, all of them are actually represented here as teams. Once you get on a team, you'll have a crew of 5 manning your ship. It's going to be randomized, so you queue up by yourself, and you'll get assigned with 4 other people from across the region, not just your server, because the new Blood Salt Bay, as it's called, is a cross-region arena. So all of our balanced arenas going forward are actually going to be cross-region.
And does your gear have any effect whatsoever, or...?
Your gear has 0 effect. It is a balanced arena. So if you notice at the bottom, there actually is no skill bar. It actually is just a point tracker for the captains collecting souls. You cannot use any of the player skills in this arena. You cannot use any of your items or potions. And it's all based on, you even use your own ship. You're given one of the captain's ships, and they have different stats, and you can choose that at the beginning of the arena.
Okay, and so there's 4 different ships you get to choose from?
Yeah, 4 different ships, each with their own stats. There's a balanced one, there's an attack-heavy one,
Nice.
Sort of it suits your playstyle.
And then if you do die, what happens? What's the bad stuff?
So if you die, basically the ship blows up, and the Nui artifact in the middle will crack. Once it cracks open, it will release all the souls that you've collected to that point out and back into the arena. There's only 100 souls in the arena to capture. Okay. So it actually is prudent to crack other ships open and take their souls.
So this is a time-based game, or is it if someone gets 50 souls, the match is over?
No, it's a time-based game. So you have 10 minutes to collect as many souls as possible.
Okay, very cool.
You notice it is a very small arena, and it's designed to be like that, so it's always very chaotic, You're firing your cannons, you're trying to dodge and move. You can push people into Calatus, which is in the middle there.
Yeah, that thing is
giant mob.
Crazy.
Yeah, right? So Calatus will fire poison at you, but if you get too close, it will also dive over towards your ship and just wreck you. It does 70% of your ship's health in one go.
So stay away from that thing if you're here in the Naval Arena.
Yep. There are also towers along the outside. If they're glowing, you can actually go up and blow them up, and there's hidden bosses.
Oh, it looks like he's getting close. Might die here.
You might get hit.
It looks like
there it goes.
Oh, yeah, there's a giant attack from that thing.
There's a little bit left on the ship.
It doesn't look like you can capsize in here. Have you seen people capsize, or is it kind of wonky physics?
We haven't seen anyone capsize. It always tries to keep the ship upright and moving.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. That is very cool. I know that is the big main point of 4.0.
Yep.
There are some other points. We'll just dive into some other questions first.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I am super hyped, and I know a lot of my viewers are super hyped about Fresh Start servers. Do you have any news for us for Fresh Start servers?
Yes. No, as I've been saying on the forums and been saying on our live streams, it's really important for us that we go talk to XL first. So we're going to be discussing that during our quarterly business review coming up in September. So that's coming up very soon. But until then, we're really focused on 4.0, getting that ready, the September update and our anniversary, getting all that prepared. Because we're in the final development stretch for that, and then also doing evolutions as well.
So the business meeting is more towards the end of September?
It's in the middle of September. The third week.
So you think we might get some information towards the end of September?
You should look after that, because we'll have things more set in stone after that.
Okay, so no news right now, guys, but end of September maybe.
We just did Gamescom, we're doing PAX, we do the evolutions right after that, and then we're doing the September update, and then we're doing the quarterly business review, and then we just keep traveling.
Yeah, I mean, the evolutions are going on kind of like right now, aren't they? Like,
so we're in the
servers are being shut down.
No, 9/7 is
9/7, okay.
So we are in the final throes of our testing. So,
yeah. So how is that all going? Everything working good on your end?
Very, very well. So we've been working closely with Excel's merge team. They literally got back from Japan doing their merge and evolutions over there, and they immediately moved over to our version and started working with us.
Nice. Are they going to be on site?
They are on site already.
Oh,
so they arrived in the Austin office as of last week.
So it definitely helps.
Yeah, it does. It helps a lot. It removes that time zone difference, because it's you always send things over and you have to wait a full night to actually get the response back, because that's daytime for them. So that's why some things are always delayed, and people are like, why does it take so long? Time differences are unfortunately out there.
Yeah, so it's what, like 14-hour difference or something?
About that, yeah.
That's crazy.
So we try to have as many meetings as possible in that small gap of time when we're both awake. But sometimes they have to go to other different team members and get more information on the back end or research things, which is why sometimes things take more time.
So then obviously you guys don't, well, I mean, you might know what kind of changes you want to make for Fresh Start 3, but nothing's set in stone obviously at this point.
Yeah, so I would love to tell you about some of that stuff, because we have some ideas floating around.
Well, okay, personally, what would you like to change for, say, Fresh Start 3? It doesn't have to be something...
Personally?
Yeah, personally.
No, I don't even want to get into that, because I don't want to make promises,
No,
I don't want someone to be like,
this is your opinion.
Said.
This is just your opinion.
Yeah, I think, we've been making great strides with the marketplace on Fresh Start 3. I would love to see a continuation of that, especially with, the fact that we now have the split technology, where we can section off accounts from, legacy accounts with fresh start accounts. So more changes like that would be really, really interesting. But I don't know if any of that's possible with the amount of time that we have, depending on when we want to do and how we want to do it.
So and then you said 4.0 is sometime this year. We don't have any...
It's going to be quarter 4 this year.
Quarter 4 this year.
So it is going to be this year.
Christmas present, I'm guessing?
Maybe around then, but it will be this year. I can guarantee that.
Very cool, very cool.
And of course, we're bringing over the rest of the 3.7 changes in 4.0.
That's the Luna Gems.
Luna Gem changes, which are really, really great. The new Raid Alliance board is going to be coming into the game. With 4.0, we're also doing the Raid Alliance system in general, so you can actually ally 2 raids together and form a group of 100 players. And beyond just that, the new mansion, the new turtle ship, we have the currency reduction, so we're moving Warriors medals and moving Warriors medals and merit badges out of the game. So there's a lot going on with 4.0. Oh, the new title collection system.
Okay, what's that?
The title collection system, basically, it allows you to pair stats with titles rather than being locked in.
Yes.
So you can be like, hey, I want to be Orchidness Disciple, but I may not want the stats that the Orchidness Disciple title gives me.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That's cool, yeah. That's definitely a nice feature that a lot of people are going to like and enjoy, because...
It's actually the first time you can see all the titles in ArcheAge in the same place.
Okay.
And in fact, it even counts as you collect more titles. It ranks you up in that system, and you actually get new icons that you can sit next to your name to sort of show how good you are at
collecting titles. Oh, that's pretty cool. So a collection feature.
It is a full
Some people are definitely going to be like, oh, I got to get all the titles now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then complete everything.
And some people are really into that, like the exploration points, artistry, and things like that. So it's really good to see another one of those systems coming into the game.
Awesome. So 4.0 does have a lot of kind of system changes. The UI is changing again.
Yeah.
And then now the currency changes. So that's kind of been a trend this last year. 3.5 had a lot of system changes as well.
Yeah.
I know they haven't always gone over so great with the populations here in North America, and supposedly in Korea, 4.0 isn't being received very well. Are you hearing these feedbacks? Is XL what are they trying to do to change things, or are they trying to change things, or what's maybe different, or what's your thought process on the Korean feedback for 4.0, or our feedback for 4.0? Because even every time you bring a patch here, there's always the people that have seen it or heard about it, and they're like, no, please don't bring this, please don't bring this. There's always these threads that pop up. They're like, no, don't change this, don't change this, don't change this. So like, is there anything that you've seen that you're kind of like you want to push back on or try and change, or how are you going to just kind of roll with these patches essentially? What's the plan?
So that's a big question, and that involves a multi-pronged answer too. The things that we want to change. We got time, exactly. These reviews always usually run long, so. But I love being detailed for the community and giving as much information as possible about the things that we're doing. So the first thing is getting information out to players sooner. So, for example, the Battle Balance patch that we're always been talking about as of late, that's coming to Korea by the end of the year, but for us it's going to come to the game next year. But we already have the information on it, and we're going to be sharing that with the community very soon. We're actually going to send it over to Joe to look and learn, Muzzy, and we can write up an article about it. But we're also talking with XL about that right now. Awesome. So as players see those changes and as we release more information, we're actually going to get more feedback into the game earlier before it even hits our system,
and that will help you change it or adjust it a little bit more towards our, because once it's in, isn't it hard to change type of thing? Like,
it's not hard to change, it's just that it would take time away from the live schedule to build new content. So you always have to balance brand new content versus, like changing up existing systems and making improvements to what things players want to see out of those systems. So I think the big first step there is getting information out earlier to the staff, and we're already trying to do that.
Yeah, it definitely is an improvement this last few months. We're seeing faster communication. Of course, everyone wants faster and faster. But you guys are definitely doing a better job at that. I hands down applaud on that.
So the second prong of all this crazy lineup here is that we really want to make sure that we're getting the community feedback over to XL as early as possible. And XL is actually making a very big effort in order to listen to that feedback. So we actually have a couple new initiatives in the fire with them, looking at various big system changes or like explicit community feedback that we've shared with them, and they're looking at to see what can be put into the overall world region. One of the difficulties we always encounter is that ArcheAge is a world-based game. It's not just a North American and Europe game. We do make changes specific to our region, but that again takes time away from the development cycle, and we have to balance those things accordingly. So we look at some of these big class changes, we look at some of these big system changes. They're always considered in context of what other regions may want. So what Russia asks for, what Japan asks for, and in many ways, we're all kind of allied in a lot of that feedback. So that's really good to see. But we're opening up those questions with them earlier and earlier and showing them what could change for our version, and they're looking at ways that they can get those changes to us before it even reaches our servers. So that's the best way to do it.
On that, will we kind of see a resurrection of the publisher's request form? Because that kind of died off a little bit here.
Yeah, I really like that idea. It was something, I was the personal inventor of that idea. So I wanted to be more transparent with the things we were doing with XL. There's a lot of problems with publishers' requests for us. It's that if something doesn't get changed immediately or something has to wait because it's a low priority, it's not going to change for months, because it keeps getting moved from patch to patch, because we patch on a monthly basis. So in that way, I think it sent the wrong message, like maybe that we were forgetting things when really they were still on the list and trying to be sectioned off to appropriate portions of work. It also was difficult to get direct answers or constant updates on certain community issues. And in those ways, I didn't feel as though it was super functional or helpful for players. We can get that same feedback from the forums or from Reddit or for a variety of other sources.
So I thought one of the primary focuses was getting all the feedback of one topic, kind of like in one section, in one area, rather than having 5-6 different threads on sort of related topics.
Yeah, but at the same time, our community is now split across the forums and Reddit. You have some people who really like the forums, you have some people who really like Reddit. You have some people that I guess people forget about this who really like our social media, and they only ever show up there until they tweet at us or they Facebook us, which is a really cool thing that, to hear from, but they also sometimes aren't fully detailed like forum or Reddit responses are, but it's still important to include into the game. So in that, the publisher's request form is limited because it's only forums. When really we need to consider a much wider group of feedback. Even faction chat, like we have GMs go in, like Tynan, used to go in. His team is still going to be doing that on the live servers, asking questions, listening to what people are saying everywhere we can.
That is a great segue into a question that people had about the data that you guys collect, and is there any pain points that you specifically see where people just kind of get to this point and like they leave ArcheAge, or they're just like, you know, kind of weed off and then die? Like, is there any pain points that your data shows, and like what, if so, what is there being done to try and help and alleviate that?
Yeah, so I think what's going to surprise a lot of people, especially with the way the question was phrased, was asking like not for veteran, you know, issues, not for just, you know, people who are mid-range playing the game, but for the casual, average gamer, where, like, how do they attach to ArcheAge? And some really good news in that, looking at our game versus the other games I've worked on, when players actually get into ArcheAge, they actually get in really, really well. We keep a lot of the people who come and try to pick up the game for the first time, and they stick with the game all the way to 55 and beyond. But even in that, the people who drop off almost always drop off pre-30. And it's because they see the systems, they think ArcheAge is like every other game they played, they don't realize the depth of the game or the expanse of the game, and then they leave, you know? So it's always a struggle to show players as early on in the game as possible what you can do in ArcheAge and what makes us such a unique and special experience against all the other MMOs in the market. You know, we are, as you know, we are a very unique game.
Yeah, you have tons and tons of features, and like, I mean, I played it for over 3 years, and I haven't dabbled in all the features. There's caves and things I haven't even been to.
Right.
Like, there's corners of the world that are still untouched for me, and different systems. Like, I haven't ever touched the music system, but the music system's in there, and it's a really cool system.
Have you done any artistry at all?
No, well, I mean, do they do the regrade scrolls, or what do they print? Do they print paper? I know they print paper.
Can do paper,
okay.
But artistry can do, like, you know, statues.
I've done nothing statues, no, probably nothing artistry at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, I've heavily played ArcheAge.
Right, exactly. You know, like, there's so much to do. It's hard to get all that into, like, a very short window of time. So in that way, we're always looking at what can we do to show the potential of the game as early as possible. And so we have that brand new tutorial zone where it shows you gliders, it shows you sieges, it shows you some of the top end things in the game as fast as possible. Ship combat, for example. But even in like 4.0 coming up, we're doing that whole rebalance to the crafting tutorial quests. How do I craft in the game? How do I use the folio? All things that, you know, we're combining together to sort of like teach players what our game is about. And that's some of the changes we look forward to in order to get more people into the game as early as possible. Like that early game experience.
On the data front, I know everyone has been asking, well, not everyone, but a lot of people ask about the yearly review, or how many potatoes have been plucked, how many people have been killed from PvP. You did an information drop, I believe, for year 1.
Yeah.
And it was like, maybe we'll do it for year 2, but it just never happened. And now year 3 is coming up. Is that something that we may see anytime soon? Like a big info drop of how many times the Seabug has killed people, or you know, how many potatoes have been planted, or how many PvP deaths?
That's really in the realm of Big Data Dude. So he does all of that work. But unfortunately, he's been, you know, really tasked with a lot of the evolution work as well. He's got to collect all the data from all the servers to make sure that we're appropriately giving people their items back. So you're not going to see it anytime soon. We love doing that for the anniversary, but you know, that's almost squarely in Big Data Dude's realm, and he has a lot bigger fish to fry right now.
Yeah, because you're going to be manually like restoring a lot of items, aren't you?
Yep. And so that's almost everything is going to be restored back. You know, like your prestige, you know, your guild levels, your family levels, your furniture, your plushies. You know, like anything that you can think of is almost going to be handed back, except for the core land. So that, against the first evolution, when a lot of things were missing, you know, I think we made a lot of improvements there.
Definitely, it definitely sounds like, but I know some people were worried about this 24-hour land lock where like no land's going to be placed. Is it changed to 48? I don't know. Like
no, it's still
24. Okay.
Yeah.
So 24 hours, no land is going to be claimable.
Yep.
And then you're just going to like, okay.
Yeah, it will be unlocked all at the same time. Yes. So, well, not all at the same time. I should say, at all at the same time per region. So, Europe will happen during their prime time. North America will happen during their prime time. It's important to do that for a couple of reasons. One, it was a community request. I know some people forget about that, but last time we did Evolutions, people always asked us, why can't you hold back land for 24 hours? Let people get into the servers, make sure servers don't crash and fall over, you know, like, those are things we're really sensitive to. It's one thing to get in and have everything in place, and then maybe not get the plot you want, but get a plot right next to it. It's another thing to jump in, try and rush to everything, and have the server fall over on you, or have that progression that you were the first to get in this time, but you weren't the next time if the server does fall over. That's a really bad experience, and we want to really avoid that.
So on these
and actually,
servers,
if I can like finish just one more thing, like they also used the system in Japan just recently, and it went over really, really well. So
it's been tested slightly.
It's been tested, yeah. So because of that, and because of the community feedback, and because it worked in Japan, we really wanted to go with it.
Are we going to see kind of like a test maybe on the PTS for this at all? Like locking land and then be like, okay, it's open now, like,
we've actually been testing on PTS for like the past month. We've been doing off-server tests on PTS, which I think the PTSers are a little angry about because we keep locking the server. But we're doing a lot of heavy load tests. We're also doing tests with our internal data. We just took backups of all the servers, and we made a faux merge environment on our back end, and have been actually enacting the merge multiple times.
That's really good.
With the actual live data, so we can see how everything plays out constantly. If there's any errors on our side, we're cleaning up immediately.
Oh, that's really good. Sounds really promising.
By the time we're done with all this testing, we'll have tested merges about 3 to 4 times.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then the other concern is like server populations. Are you going to raise the caps on the servers? Because same thing. It sucks if like, okay, land is locked for 24 hours, but then you have 50,000 people trying to log in at that said time, and the servers can only hold say 10,000. I mean, we don't know the exact numbers. You guys do. But yeah, are you going to raise the server caps so like more people can get in?
Yeah. If we need to, yes. But these servers are also at a population level that's equal to Kyrios.
Yeah, so they're low already.
So it's not low, it's in the average ArcheAge server, right? So it's something that we take on a daily basis with ease. So yeah,
it's not going to be like Fresh Start, massive.
Fresh Start was huge, and a lot of people came back for that. And you're going to see people come back for the evolution too, but it's not going to be anywhere near what Fresh Start does.
So then I know that customer service that kind of goes hand in hand with this. Customer service wait times has always been like 3 to 5 days roughly, and then at any major patch it seems to go to like a week. How come nothing has like changed to improve that pain point for the community? It always seems like we're always like 5 days away from getting a response.
Yeah. So actually, we just did. We brought in a bunch of new customer service agents. So you're not going to see it happen quite yet. They need to be trained up. ArcheAge is again a big game. We also have to learn our other games as well. But there are multiple new agents joining the team and learning about the game. So we hopefully can turn that around and take those wait times down to them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Since I know 4.0 will have, every patch has something going funky and crazy that you couldn't have seen coming.
Well, we had to bring new people in because number one, a bunch of people that just did get promoted out of customer service, and they're joining different teams. Tynan, was in customer service. So we're replacing those people, and also adding a couple more too.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Yep.
So, because I know, that was some of the community feedback. We were like, just hire more people, and you guys kept telling it's not that simple.
It's not that simple. They have to be trained first.
Yes, which makes complete sense.
Because you don't want to be angry at the guy who doesn't understand your game.
Yeah. Because the other thing is that we got like a bot response, and they're all real people, right? That are sending out.
People.
I mean, the
I can go down and poke all of them.
Yeah.
And I do on a regular basis. When someone's like, I don't understand why I got banned, I walk down the hall to that agent and go, hey, what's up? Tell me about this.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing you guys a lot more interactive on those kind of posts in like Reddit and even the forums of like, hey, we're looking, okay, there, like, and you're this is why you got banned, not because you didn't do anything, but you actually did this or did that.
Yes.
And it's very cool seeing that because people complain, oh, I got banned, I did nothing, but they actually did something, or like their kid came in and logged in something, or someone.
I know the big thing's always like, I was using Steam Big Picture, or I have a keyboard connected. We don't ban on that. We really, really don't. We look for very specific programs or very specific behaviors, which are almost key indicators of, like cheating or hacking and things like that. And that's what we try to remove from the game ASAP.
Awesome. Yeah, that definitely. It seems like it comes in big waves too. It's like you get this big, almost ban wave, and then you get all the forums and the Reddit people be like, I got banned. And so does it kind of happen in waves essentially? I mean, you're always banning.
I mean, we always do. We ban every day, but yeah, it can happen like that because we want to collect data and make sure we're doing it right, basically. Mm-hmm. So we watch for a while and make sure that this is not going so well.
And then I know one of the other things that really it bugged me a lot is that you get stuck in the daily routines, and then there's just like a bajillion dailies. So, is there any plans on kind of reducing the dailies, or just kind of like consolidating them down?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's something else that players do say, is that like all you're doing is you're logging in, you're going to get your vacation, going to get your honor, going to get this, and then by the time you're done all your dailies, the day is over. You have no time to actually enjoy the day.
Because you've done all your events, you've done all your quests, you know, like daily quests.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to get hero too. You're practically living on the server to get the hero status, which I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, because only heroes would be the most hardcore players.
Yeah, hardcore players. But even just the casuals, I mean, if you've got 2 or 3 hours to play, you're like, okay, you're gonna do the vocation dailies, gonna do the Guildastar daily or whatever. And then by the time you do a couple of those, you're like, my 2 hours is over. And, you know, it kind of irks some people.
Yeah. No, we heard that feedback. It's been feedback we've given in the past too. You know, we want to begin to focus less on dailies and more on social systems. But it's something that we can continue talking about going forward. There's no explicit plans right now, but I think that's really good feedback to receive, and we're definitely taking it into consideration. And it's something we've also thought about in the past as well. So.
Yeah, just like meaningful content that is fun and enjoyable, and not like a massive time sink would be awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate that. Okay, so then, let's see. We have a couple more questions here. Some people, I was shocked about this question. They were asking about player nations and like restricting player nations, because it's like once you get into a player nation, that player nation kind of just runs the server, because you're going to invite everyone from east, west, and make this big mega faction that is all the geared players on the server, which is essentially the whole reason to make a player nation. But the community seemingly doesn't like that, because they just kind of steamroll the server and then I guess declines the whole server population. Are you seeing that on the servers that have like really strong player nations, or is there any concerns on your end on the player nation system?
No, not right now, because what player nations do is what pirates used to do, because they had the same technology available to them. They could leave their faction, join up under one faction and one guild roof, and cause the same amount of trouble, right? So it's something we've dealt with before, and it's just coming about in a new way. I think one of the big things is making sure that each server has equal populations, because some servers are really, really big. Other servers are not. They're definitely on the lower end of the spectrum. So I think with the evolution, you're going to see improvements in that, because there's going to be a lot more people on your server, people who can actively contest the player nation and throw them off. It's definitely coming down to work as a faction, or maybe work cross-faction, work with your pirates, do what you can to sort of push the people back and take the server into your own hands, if that's something you really want to see. But I think populations is a legitimate concern, and that's something that's going to be addressed coming up. But otherwise, we're not really looking at restricting player nations in any way right now, depending on how things go.
Did they get knocked down to like 100 cap now, whereas before they could be like the 150 or 200?
Oh no, they can still do that, yeah, as long as they get more castles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's castle-based, so if they keep losing land, that's going to keep hurting their efforts. They can't lose people, but they can invite more over that cap.
Okay.
Yep.
And then, so quality of life changes, which I thought these are really cool. Seed time planting reduction on the whole, like, okay, I gotta wait 3 seconds or 4 seconds or whatever it is, which that would be a godsend. Like, I single seed planted for a while, but after about maybe an hour of doing it, I'm like, no, done, can't do it. And I think most people are like that.
Yep.
Has that been brought up? Is that something you guys are actively thinking of maybe changing, reducing that global cooldown down for the single seeds, or just planting in general?
It's a great piece of feedback. We'll definitely, see if it can be fit in, or if there's some concern that the team might have on it. But it's definitely something we've taken into consideration, I've heard before. So it's on the list underneath, that specific planting, single planting, and, general seeds and the lottery system in general. So.
And then another cool system that, I thought about, and other people have brought up, is like a template system of what you planted prior on your farm, and then just like a replant, like a one-click. Is that something you guys ever talked about or thought about or brought up?
We talked about that before too. Again, that's another community piece of feedback that we've had for a while. I'm not sure how viable that is, but it's definitely something that's been discussed, but it's not something we've ever taken direct action on.
I mean, I personally would love that, especially because if you have a lot of land.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes a long time, like going back to the dailies. It's a daily process of planting your crops and then growing them. And then when people kind of like, quit, and then there's no crops or things on the auction house, which then affect the whole everything.
Right.
So if you could ease up the pain point of crop farming and crop planting, it definitely would help the overall game, in my opinion. So I would strongly, please make that happen.
there's also like economic concerns you have to think about them, because if people are auto-collecting, then it's gonna, you're gonna get more crops in the economy. How's that affect prices? Is it good? Is it bad? There's a lot of considerations. It's more than just adding some system into the game, and because it's good for the players. It may be bad in other ways, so we want to fully explore that before committing to anything like that.
Well, on that token, one of the reasons that the Archeage weapons and armor hadn't really been crafted is because there's not enough mats to make the base weapons, and then getting the dailies to get the components that you need to get the Archeage. I don't know what they even called because I haven't.
The English blessings.
Yeah, the blessings and stuff. It's just there's just not enough in the world to generate that, and so then that kind of 3.0 became, in my opinion, a big bust because there may be, I don't know, I mean, maybe how how many Archeage weapons and armor there are on the servers roughly, but it doesn't seem like there's many.
It's still rare. No,
it's still it's
quite
rare.
It's going to be something very, very hard to get at first. And once you get it, you can't smash it through regrades. It's always going to be with your character, and it's always going to have forward progression. So it's going to be difficult to get, and it is intended to be the top end gear. So it's going to be rare for a while.
But the problem with that is it's still roughly on par. Power-wise, it's better than Tier 7 Obsidian.
Yes.
But Tier 7 Obsidian has special bonuses and things that kind of up the ante a little bit on those guys. So most people still prefer Tier 7 Obsidian based on how easy it is to get comparatively, and just the extra bonuses. Some classes just thrive on those bonuses.
Yep.
So I mean, it should be a little bit easier to get, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if something that continues to be like that, we can always talk about it. Leviathan is a good example where Leviathan turned from being killable to not killable again, and now he's back to being killable. So if something goes like that, we can always have that conversation.
Awesome. Yep. Let's see. Okay, events. People love the Smashing Christmas Box event, and they also love the...
they love stuff.
They love stuff, of course.
Do you love stuff?
Yes, love stuff. Love free stuff. And love actually usable, good free stuff like loot rights. But the Sunken Treasure event also was very, very popular. Yep. So there was all that treasure, and then there was PvP. And I personally love that event more than the Xmas box because they did encourage open world activities, whereas the Xmas box was just smash your gifts and get them. I mean, I love both, but the open world was awesome. You actually did die occasionally out there. There wasn't a ton of people killing you, but you could die in the open world, and there was good rewards, and it was fun, and so plans to bring those kind of events back and kind of maybe scale back some of the more less meaningful ones that are just kind of click a box, go to that NPC, okay, thank you, done. Thoughts on that?
I mean, if people really like those events, we want to bring them back. Why not? Obviously, for the last year, considerations had to be made where the Christmas event was a little bit too powerful for the fresh start servers, right? And whenever it runs on one, has to run on all of them. So we couldn't do it last year. But going forward, if people really like it, we can always make those suggestions to bring those things back. And with those in mind, we know what people like. We can ask for more of those elements to come back in future events. We do have a new event coming into the game with the anniversary update. It's going to be called Corgi Conundrum. It's going to be the first time you're going to see one of the producers in the game. You're actually going to get to interact with Amory. She's going to hang out in Diamond Shores with a giant Kirby. I can't make this up. Excel came to us with this event idea, and we sat there and were like, wow, this is crazy. Sure, you guys want to do it? Absolutely.
So I mean, obviously she can't be on every server though, right? So it's going to be an avatar.
It is an NPC that basically hangs out right next to Kirby. She'll give you quests for the 3rd anniversary, which are pretty funny. We were writing them up and trying to have a good time with it. I think players will really enjoy some of the lines that she might have. But then you have to keep Kirby happy, and he'll be going through different phases and cycles, and she'll give you different quests depending on how Kirby's feeling.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So I got one last question here on the quality of life changes. So gems are changing in 4.0. There was a question if they were going to be retroactive. Will the old gems kind of get buffed up or decreased, or will they stay the same? Do you know on that?
They will stay the same.
So they're going to stay the same
but
there.
If you don't have them socketed, you will need to socket them before the change is made. Otherwise, if you're not socketed and they're in your inventory, you can click them and convert them into materials.
Okay, so if they're not socketed, then they will potentially change.
Yeah, just a material conversion. Then.
Okay, yeah, because that's what's happened most of the time. Is when a new thing happens, it's it converts into the new item. Yep. So okay, so if they're socketed guys, they're gonna stay the same. So if they're weaker or stronger, plan accordingly on that. And yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Do you have any other questions that you want or feedback for the community? Anything you want to say to them?
I mean, no, keep tossing your feedback out and your comments. You know, we love reading all of it. We're on Reddit, we're on the forums, we're on social media, and we, you know, it doesn't matter. Positive, negative, we want to read all of it and really start making, you know, doing what we can to keep going, moving forward, and making the game better and better. We're really excited about 4.0. It's coming out later this year, as we mentioned before, with a slew of changes and a slew of additions. You know, we're continuing that trend of removing RNG from the game and just putting a lot more quality of life changes into the game for all of us.
Awesome, thank you so much, and you know, thank Muzzy too, because you guys are like tag teaming up in the community now. You know, I know as a producer, you probably don't have to interact with the community.
I don't have as much time, unfortunately,
anymore.
So I've been bouncing around between a lot of the internal discussions. I still love being in all the external discussions too, because I know what to tell Excel, like, you know, even before Muzzy tells me. So it just makes two voices saying the same thing over, you know, it improves things a lot.
Awesome, thank you. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, guys.